What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So we have some very, very interesting news as Olympic gold medalist, 5-division world champion, 6-division world champion, Mexican superstar boxer, Hall of Fame iconic boxer, Oscar the Golden Boy De La Hoya. Oscar De La Hoya is now the CEO and founder of Golden Boy Promotions. And Oscar De La Hoya, he used to promote 4-division world champion, Mexican superstar boxer, who is currently the undisputed super middleweight world champion, widely considered the face of the sport of boxing, top 3 if not the #1 best pound for pound fighter in the world, in Saul Canelo Alvarez. Okay, Canelo Alvarez is now 57 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws, 39 big wins by way of knockout, 31 years of age, 5'8" with a 70-inch arm reach. With that said, we know Canelo Alvarez recently, he took on undefeated WBA light heavyweight world champion, Russian superstar boxer, Dmitry Bivol, who is now 20 wins, no losses, no draws, 11 wins by way of knockout. He too is 31 years of age, 6 feet tall with a 72-inch arm reach. So he took on Dmitry Bivol. Dmitry Bivol outclassed and dominated Canelo Alvarez. It's Canelo Alvarez's second attempt at light heavyweight. The first time he was successful, and back in 2019 when he took on Sergey Crusher Kovalev, okay? And he knocked out Kovalev for the WBO title in the 11th round. So with that said, Canelo Alvarez had his sights set on becoming undisputed at light heavyweight. He's already undisputed in under a calendar year at super middleweight. Now he had his sights set on light heavyweight. Why? Because he beat Dmitry Bivol. He becomes a WBA champion. And then you have a massive unification bout between Artur Beterbiev, who's the unified WBC IBF light heavyweight world champion, who's undefeated, taking on WBO light heavyweight world champion Joe Smith Jr. June 18th, Madison Square Garden, New York. So 3 belts will be on the line. So essentially, Canelo Alvarez has to win 2 fights at light heavyweight, and he'll become undisputed in the 2nd division, right? And obviously, he came up massively short. So Oscar De La Hoya, he goes on the record and says, there's a reason you have to identify and know boxing. So he rips Matchroom CEO and promoter Eddie Hearn and DAZN and says that there's a reason why we match Canelo Alvarez the way you match him. You have to know boxing. He states that that was the worst matchmaking in history. We would have never allowed Canelo Alvarez to face off against Dmitry Bivol. Okay, so he states that Dmitry Bivol's style is all wrong for Canelo Alvarez. He said it all comes down to matchmaking and knowing boxing, and clearly Eddie Hearn doesn't know boxing. So he goes on to say that the fight between Canelo and Cuban superstar boxer Erislandy Lara was all on Canelo Alvarez. That's not a fight that they wanted to make, okay? They wasn't truly interested in making that fight because of the style matchup, right? Erislandy Lara is a slick southpaw Cuban pure boxer with quick feet and quick hands. Now, we all know that Canelo Alvarez struggles with a certain style. Now, I know people are going to look and they're going to say, well, Oscar De La Hoya is just salty that Canelo Alvarez has parted ways with Golden Boy and went on his own. But you have to be realistic here, okay? And look at the landscape and look at the history. Look at the pattern. Oscar De La Hoya matched Canelo Alvarez up with the fights, like he stated, that he felt were more winnable for Canelo Alvarez's style. Okay, like he said, you know, Oscar De La Hoya is on record saying that he had no interest in Canelo Alvarez facing against Erislandy Lara when the fight was just first being made. Okay, and then at the press conference after the fight was over, Oscar De La Hoya, he immediately said there'll be no rematch with Canelo Alvarez and Erislandy Lara. Canelo Alvarez, most people felt like Canelo Alvarez lost that fight against Erislandy Lara. Okay, So Oscar De La Hoya knows that Canelo Alvarez got away with a victory, and he's not trying to go down that road again. And so he stated there'll be no rematch. Now, the fight for Canelo Alvarez with Floyd Mayweather, he had a built-in excuse. His youth, okay? And Floyd Mayweather being arguably the greatest boxer to ever grace the square circle. So losing to Floyd Mayweather doesn't have the same implications on the back end that losing to a guy like DMITRY Bivol has, or Erislandy Lara, because they're not considered to be all-time legendary great fighters. Okay, Floyd Mayweather is, and Floyd Mayweather was undefeated and a masterclass boxer. So is it surprising that he lost to Floyd Mayweather? No, it's not surprising. Okay, and so with that said, you have a built-in excuse to losing to Floyd Mayweather. So Oscar De La Hoya, he states that Canelo Alvarez would lose to DMITRY Bivol 10 out of 10 times. Why would you dare match him up against a guy he would lose to 10 out of 10 times? He says that Canelo Alvarez has not gotten better. Canelo Alvarez tips off his opponents with certain things that he does. It's just that, you know, the results haven't always been this. He's always overcome it. And so this is what I stated. He didn't get better in the ring. He got better at choosing his opponents, okay? And so Oscar De La Hoya is saying the same thing. And I know a lot of people are going to look at it and they're going to say, well, Oscar De La Hoya, again, he's just salty. Look at the history of Oscar De La Hoya matchmaking Canelo and the people complaining about Canelo not fighting the absolute best. Hint, Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade when he was at middleweight, and after he beat Gennady Golovkin and Danny Jacobs, he could have fought Demetrius Andrade. He fought Rocky Fielding and he fought Sergey Kovalev. Why not fight Demetrius Andrade for the last piece of the puzzle to become undisputed? Why? Because Demetrius Andrade is a 6 foot tall, 74-inch arm reach, southpaw, slick boxer who is going to put you in the mindset of that of Erislandy Lara. And they wanted to stay away from that style, okay? So this is a history. So Oscar De La Hoya carefully match-made Canelo Alvarez, okay? And because Oscar De La Hoya, he knew the shortcomings that Canelo Alvarez has. And so he didn't want to make the fight. So Oscar De La Hoya is urging that they stay away from a rematch with DMITRY Bivol because Canelo Alvarez would lose to DMITRY Bivol 10 out of 10 times. Wow. Again, like I said, to me and to 90% of the boxing world, only the fans that are just hardcore, blindly supporting Canelo Alvarez believe that it was a competitive close fight. It wasn't. Okay, and the judges who support Canelo Alvarez and back Canelo Alvarez, they're the only ones, ironically, that saw a close fight. It wasn't a close fight. It was a domination on the part of DMITRY Bivol. And Oscar De La Hoya, who's very aware and very well versed in the sport of boxing, understands matchmaking. Look at his fights. Fighters like Virgil Ortiz Jr., undefeated, rising welterweight superstar title contender. Virgil Ortiz is 18 wins, no loss, no draw, 18 wins by way of knockout. He is 24 years of age, 5'10" with a 70-inch arm reach. Oscar De La Hoya carefully matches Virgil Ortiz. Why? Virgil Ortiz has a lot of the same issues that Canelo Alvarez has. Doesn't have the quickest feet, doesn't have the quickest hands, puts combinations together very well, changes levels, goes to the body, to the head very well, okay, has a high ring IQ, has a good jab, fundamentally sound, but they're not athletically as gifted as the slick boxers that's going to give them trouble because they have slow feet. So guess what? Is Oscar De La Hoya eager to put him in the ring with another rising welterweight superstar title contender in Jerron Bucenis, who's 28 wins, no loss, no draw, 26 wins by way of knockout, 5'10" with a 74-inch arm reach, quick feet, power, athletic ability? Absolutely not. Oscar De La Hoya has zero interest in matchmaking Virgil Ortiz with Jerron Bucenis. He's not even eager to put Virgil Ortiz in the ring with Speedy Rashidi Ellis, another fighter that was under his banner and in his stable, and Speedy Rashidi Ellis. He has no interest. Rashidi Ellis has fast feet, fast hands, undefeated, high ring IQ, slick boxer. It's going to give Virgil Ortiz problems. So he's matchmaking Virgil Ortiz correctly and properly with certain guys, certain levels. Igor Kavalauskas almost clipped him and knocked him out, but he overcame it, weathered the storm, and stopped Igor Kavalauskas. He was having problems and getting outboxed by Maurice Mighty Mo Hooker, former WBO junior welterweight world champion, superstar boxer. And now he overcame that and got the stoppage over Maurice Hooker, okay? But for the most part, again, like I said, he struggles with pure boxers. Oscar De La Hoya is very aware of this. So while the fans are calling for Virgil Ortiz to fight the likes of former unified welterweight world champion, superstar boxer Keith one-time Thurman, who's very slick, who's very mobile, power in both hands, high ring IQ, fast hands, fast feet. You think he wants to match him up against him? Absolutely not. Stylistically bad matchup. So Oscar De La Hoya has a history of properly matching up his fighters so that they can have the success they need to be successful in the future, okay? And he could properly build them up. And it's the same thing he did with Canelo Alvarez. He saw Canelo Alvarez talent. He saw Canelo Alvarez commitment to the sport of boxing. He identifies that. And guess what? He ain't gonna put Canelo, he wasn't putting Canelo in the ring. Again, Erislandy Lara disrupted Canelo Alvarez's press conference, and he pushed for the fight, and Canelo Alvarez's pride got Canelo Alvarez to accept the fight. When he stood up at the press conference after he beat Alfredo Angulo, after losing to Floyd Mayweather, and Erislandy Lara was calling him out and got on a podium with him and started calling him out, and his pride told him, and he started asking, this the fight the fans want to see me in? Y'all want to see me fight Erislandy Lara? And the fans started saying, yeah. And Canelo Alvarez was playing it, oh, who are you? I don't even know who you are. And the fans was like, yeah, you know who he is, and we want to see you fight him. And so he said, I told Oscar De La Hoya to make the fight. Oscar De La Hoya had no interest in making a fight between Canelo Alvarez and Erislandy Lara. So he's telling you the truth when it comes from this standpoint, because you saw the way he match-made Canelo Alvarez. It has nothing to do with him being salty because Canelo Alvarez isn't with him no more. Now, there's some things he says because, you know, he feels a certain kind of way because Canelo ain't with him, but this ain't one of them. So he believes that Canelo will lose 10 out of 10 times to DMITRY Bivol, and it's clear as we hear that DAZN doesn't want to green light Canelo Alvarez rematch with DMITRY Bivol as well. They want to hold off on it. They're not interested in green lighting that fight, a rematch, because let's be clear and frank, they're not confident that he can win the fight. They want to push him to fight Triple G in a trilogy. Why? Because Triple G is a much more winnable fight. Triple G style, he stands right in front of you. Okay, he's not going to be slick. He's not going to move around the ring and dance around and things of that nature. He's going to be right there for the pickings. And so that's the route they would much rather have Canelo Alvarez go. Protect the investment. So that's all I got for y'all. Let's see how this all plays out and unfolds. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.